Hey, good morning to everybody. Happy Thursday. It's Daryl here. It is bright and early, 5 a.m. here in Connecticut on the East Coast. Okay, this is going to be from the heart video, and I'm going to be brutally honest with what I'm going to talk about. I wasn't sure what I was going to make a video about, so I perused my video, my feed for about 2 hours, and nothing really stuck. And so I started my workout, and I figured I'm going to do another video later today where I carry a camera into different stores to see who's wearing masks in different stores. Stay tuned. This is going to be an interesting video. I've already figured out how to put the videos all together and everything and edit it. So I've spent some time researching this, but that's the next video. This video. Okay, I started thinking about something. I just made up my mind not to make a video this morning. And as I was finishing my workout, I'm getting ready to go on my bike ride, and I started to get some anxiety because it's a situation that's been happening on my bike ride recently. All right, let me say this too. The reason I'm making this video is a lot of times people ask me how I've managed to stay clean and sober for 15 years. What works for me and other things, and it's a variety of things, but this is one of the reasons I'm making the video. Also, I think there's a double standard for men when it comes to casual relationships, being flirted with by women, and what's expected of men, how they should act. That's kind of why I'm making this video. All right, let me just get to the heart of the matter. Over the last month, I'd say, I take two bike rides, one about 8 a.m. To 9 a.m. and one about 1 to 2 p.m. And I keep passing a woman that lives in this neighborhood. Now, the neighborhood I go through on the first part of my bike ride, it's a diverse neighborhood. It's actually called, well, I won't give you the name of it. It can be a troubled neighborhood. There's a lot of police calls there. There's more activity, without a doubt, that goes on in this neighborhood. Some people would call it the hood. But in the morning, I go through there and it's quiet as can be. I've never come across anything like that. But, and I don't want to disparage the people that live there either, so this is going to be a hard video to make. So every day, not every day, but maybe every other day, I pass a woman. She's older than me. She's probably about 10 years older than me, which would make her about 60 to 65. Maybe she looks older than she is. She looks like she may have led a wild life. She's got long gray hair, kind of short. She's very skinny. She probably doesn't weigh over 100 pounds. She seems like a nice woman. She doesn't seem like, she seems sane. She seems intelligent. Doesn't seem intoxicated or anything. I'll get to that, get some more of that in a second. But as I started going by her, I'm on my bike and she's walking the other way, and it happens every day, and it's been getting more flirtatious. She started not yelling out, but saying loud enough so I could hear her every time, like, nice legs there, or the latest one was, I could swear she said, what's under the shorts? All right, so I'm going to talk to you honestly, from the heart. I'm going to be totally honest here. All right, I haven't been in an intimate relationship in years. All right, and this is how I stay clean and sober. Of course, there's a very strong drive that comes up sometimes when you're on the bench for that long. All right, so let me just be honest with you guys. Like I said, she seems like a nice woman, but to be totally honest, this isn't somebody that I would have a serious relationship with. And I got to be perfectly honest here. Since I've been in recovery, I have to set my standards high. I don't want to sound like a cocky guy or anything, but I have to be honest about what I expect, what I would expect in a potential partner. I would expect that they have their own vehicle, their own income, their own job, maybe hopefully their own home, have a good relationship with their family, either be clean and sober or a very casual social drinker at the most. There's a lot of criteria on top of being my type. I don't mind. I don't particularly mind like overweight or out of shape women. That's not really high on my list. Honesty is more important. But anyway, getting back to this woman. So I'll be honest with you guys. One of the things that goes through my head as she's flirting with me, I start getting that idea in my head. Well, maybe, because I wouldn't be in a serious relationship with this woman. And I know she lives right on that street, because obviously she's walking from her house to the store. So I'll be, a lot of guys wouldn't admit this, but it pops up in my head, well, maybe she's not looking, maybe she's just looking for a casual relationship, and a scenario comes up in my head about, let's just stopping by her place for a drink of water or something like that. I'm going to be honest here. It would be to use her, really. And I hate to say that, but that's what goes through my head. It's been a long time. Now, I'm not planning on doing this, but it goes through my head. Now, this is where it becomes very important. And I don't want to stereotype this woman, but I look at the neighborhood she's in and everything. And look, she could have gone through sickness in her life. She could have had a bad divorce and stuff. But I look at her, her physical shape, the area she lives in and everything. And I honestly figure there's a high probability that she has had some substance issues in her life. Now, I could be wrong here, but this is what I need to do to stay clean and sober. So initially I get that male voice in my head saying, well, you know what, you could do this. But what I've learned to do, it's very important that I have to think until, I have to ask myself, what good will come of that? Because if that were to happen, it would not be worth it. First of all, if there were no substances involved, I'll get to that in a second, it would more than likely end badly. There would probably be bad feelings. Because it would just be a casual kind of use. We might be just using each other, but still, it wouldn't end good. And I've learned, when I was a teenager, I didn't think ahead. And that got me in a lot of trouble. Now I ask myself, what good could come of this? Is it really worth a couple minutes of pleasure? No. Then, this is the important part. I start thinking, what are the chances if I were to go back to that, to say her apartment, or even she came to my place, which I would never, I've learned better to ever do that because I've actually had to call police to get women out of my apartment before, years ago. What are the chances that alcohol would be a prelude to anything? What are the chances that there would be some substances there? Very, very high probability. These are the things that I've learned it's hard to do. There's a male drive. And I gotta admit, getting older made me wiser. Like I said, having to call the police and explaining to them how your one night stand, she stole all my clothes, left with all my clothes under the excuse of she was going to do laundry, except she left with every piece of clothing in my house and locked me out of my own house. And explain that to the police. Is that really worth a one-night stand? You tend to learn from these things. But really what this is about is I have to be honest with myself enough to realize that there's probably a good chance that either alcohol or substances would probably be involved. Now, this is the important thing. You can't just go along with the urge. You have to think of this ahead of time. If I allowed myself to go up to the apartment, once I'm in that position, it gets 100 times harder to stop that, to put the bullet back in the gun, so to speak. Once you're in that position, or put the fuse out once it's lit, that's a better analogy. It gets that much harder to say no. And then, say you go up there and there is some kind of substance. Hey, I'm gonna make a quick call. Maybe we could do a little party and we could relax a little bit. Man, this has happened to me dozens of times before I got clean. It's something that I wanted before I got clean. I imagine there'd be a very good chance that would happen. And once I was in that apartment, it would be almost impossible at that point to try to extricate myself from it. There'd be a good chance if I said, hey, I gotta leave, I'm not into that, that she would get angry and start making a scene. That's happened to me before. Like I said, this video isn't to, to brag or to, it's about thinking about your actions. And one of the things that have helped me the most is asking myself, what good could come of this? Just to skip to just recently after Audrey passed away, I don't know why this is, but I found myself riding down different streets in the city. Not the best streets. This street I'm talking about now is how I get from one place to another, so I don't count that. But I was going through the wrong neighborhoods, and I had to ask myself why I was doing that, because I think in the back of my mind, I was kind of looking for situations with substances. I don't want to use, I have no urge to use, but there's a subconscious, there's that part of you that a lot of times you don't realize is pushing you in certain directions. So it's important to be honest with yourself. Another thing too is, when you get, so this woman's been flirting with me now, right? Where does it go from here? Because it can't go any further for me. I'm not gonna, I gotta be honest, there's no chance of a serious relationship. There's no chance of a casual relationship. So, and see, this is where I think a lot of times society expects men to act. If I don't act, a lot of times I've had women say like, oh, what, I'm not good enough? You think you're better than me? What, are you you're not hetero? Stuff like that. A lot of times guys are expected to grab whatever comes in front of them. And that has led me down the path of destruction before, when you start thinking not with your head. So I just wanted to talk about this. This is something, and I'm not even sure how I could casually and politely just continue. I don't want to change my route, but just keep this flirtation from escalating. Just keep it kind of fun, but on a totally casual basis that's not going anywhere, because I don't want it to go anywhere. And sometimes it really pays off to ask yourself, what good will come of this? All right, I'll be back later. I'm going to be doing that video where I go into different stores and see who's wearing masks in different stores. All right, stay tuned for that. You guys have a great Thursday.